Now let's discuss competence content. I touched on competence content a little bit in the lead generation lesson, but it was very surface level. That's why it's got its own video, because there's much more to competence content than what I talked about with the social proof side of stuff. So let's get into what competence content is. Standing out requires more than just stating your qualifications. The concept of show don't tell has never been more relevant. So competence content is a bridge that transforms your potential client's skepticism into trust. Competence content is all about showcasing your skills, knowledge, and result. This type of content acts as proof of your abilities, making you an attractive choice for potential clients. So in a nutshell, competence content proves your competence, meaning it proves that you know what you're doing by using content like case studies or client results. So potential prospects can see the results you've been getting for people similar to them. Now the main difference between competence content and normal promotional content is that there isn't any forcefulness for the sale with competence content. There's no link, or there's no sort of discount. It's more of a professional way to sell your services by also providing value. So with a promo, it's just, I have this, buy it, pretty much. With competence content, it's more, I did this is how I can help you do the same if you want. It's less pushy. And obviously the one thing that sells everything more is results. If people can see that you're getting the exact results that they want for others, why wouldn't they work with you? And especially if you give some sort of value for free in a thread showing what you did to get the results, it puts them at ease and it gives them that wider insight as to how you're going to achieve whatever you do for them. And it also gives them the missing puzzle piece as well, so they can go away and apply themselves too. Now, does this have any impact on your brand? So when you post a traditional promotional post, it doesn't necessarily kill your brand, but it can put the reins on it slightly, because people hate being sold to, especially if you're coming across as a salesman with your content. They're less likely to like you if you keep spamming promo posts. Whereas with competence content, because you're not directly promoted, you're actually giving free value and then giving them a choice as to whether or not they want to work with you, is seen as much better and healthier for your brand. So two things happen when you post competence content. Your authority increases and your demand increases. So competence content isn't just about making money. It's about proving authority, which is why we call competence content sometimes authority-based content, because it's showing competence through results and results through value. Because you're showing people what you did to get these results, your authority levels increase because they can see how good you are and your methodologies for actually getting these results. So therefore, they trust you more and you become known for whatever niche you're in. And your demand increases. Now, because you clearly know how to get results, you become a staple in whatever niche you're in for the service you offer. So if you continuously push Google Ads results, for example, then people are going to start to refer you to people who need Google Ads works done. And then you become, oh, this is the Google Ads guy, or this is the web design guy, because you're continuously posting this authority/competence content, which pushes your expertise to the limit. Now, timing. Let's talk about timing. The best time to post competence content. Personally, I think it's during the end of the day. I always get my content out of the way first, and then my last post of the day will be competence content. That way I can let it marinate through the night, and it can generate as much attention as possible, as it won't get drowned out by other tweets. Now, timing for everyone is going to be completely different, as your followers' time zones will vary. Your own time zone is going to vary. So if your followers are most active at 5 p.m. and you post 10 hours later, for example, then it was not going to have the same effect. The best way to find out what time works for you and your competence content is to just test. Test if one post gathers more attention than another, but then test if it's because of what you said or the nature of the post, etc. I don't ever post any sort of promo tweet on Sundays because most people use it as a day to take a break, so they're not really on social media. So it's just that day has the least active users. The best day I've noticed to post competence content is Friday. Same if you're doing any type of launch or promo post. We're going to touch on the timing later on. But measuring success now, let's discuss that. This one will be short, this slide, as the best way to measure if your competence content is working is by the amount of DMs you get sent requesting your services. It's pretty simple. The more DMs you get sent means the better your competence content is doing. So you'll have to play around with your content every now and then to iterate and test to see what elements work best for you. So make sure when you do test it one by one. So change the CTA today, run with that for a week, then change the hook, then run with that for a week. Then note down all the changes. See which types of content you post garners the most results because of the things you're testing. Now let's talk about the different types of promos. So there's 4. We've got stories, we've got client journeys, testimonials, and then hand raises. Stories are great for promotions because they humanize your brand, making you more relatable. Through a narrative structure, stories provide context, elicit emotions, and create memorable experiences, encouraging user engagement and increasing the likelihood of content being shared. Client journeys. Client journeys effectively spotlight a customer's experience, transforming abstract product features or service into tangible benefits. So showcasing a real-world application and transformation that will resonate deeply with a prospective customer as they can visualize their own path and they can visualize their own potential success. So basically, if you're a client or you post your client, their result, their journey, whatever, prospects then who want what they have, the results that they have, can be like, oh yeah, I can do this too if I work with whoever it is. So by highlighting that authentic feedback, challenges to overcome, and the value added, these journeys cultivate trust and credibility. So everything is about trust and credibility. Testimonials, they serve as powerful promotional tools because they offer authentic validation of a product or service. So in a sea of marketing pitches, a genuine voice of satisfied customers stands out, showing immediate credibility to you. So if you amplify positive user experiences in concise, relatable tweets, you can leverage all that social proof by encouraging trust from potential clients. And then hand raises. Hand raises on Twitter or X are exceptionally potent for promotions because they directly announce availability while simultaneously showing proven results. So this dual approach effectively captures attention. The declaration of availability caters to the immediate demand, while the inclusion of a client result builds credibility and sets expectations. So that's the types of promos that you can post. What about CTAs? How do you actually get people to do something? So we've already covered what CTAs are. In short, they're actionable sentences that encourage the reader to do something, such as click a link or buy a product. So in the case of competence content, we mainly want the reader to DM you. So at the end of every piece of competence content you write, you should write as the CTA, DM me for more info, or something along the lines of that. You can optionally have them DM you a trigger word, so you can automatically qualify them and just filter through the prospects in your DMs. Otherwise, you can just send them a link to a website or Calendly so they book a call. So the end CTA on a thread or a tweet or a long form should be DM me if you want more info, or if you don't want to do that, you can put a link to your Calendly. Now, how do you promote without being annoying? So constant sales pitches on the timeline can be a pain in the ass. They ultimately make some people loathe accounts because they're seen as a cash grab, especially if you provide absolutely no value with the promotion. Now, the easiest way to combat being annoying with your promos is to not ask anything from anyone. You post the competence content, whether it be a testimonial, client result, and you simply say in the second tweet or the last tweet if it's a thread, if you want any results like this, DM me, just like we talked about in the last slide. And you do one post per day just like that. The secret is not cramming a promotion down people's throats and actually offering value through your promotion. So you show them how to get the results, you got the client through your promotion, and then you ask or you tell them to DM you if they want the same results. Now, what about case studies? So case studies are the zenith of competence content. Case studies are basically in-depth, detailed analysis of particular client journeys, processes, and results. Now, case studies are effective because they demonstrate real-world scenarios that resonate with potential clients. So by building trust through transparency, that's how you ultimately gain that credibility and you gain the promo or the sale of the promo. So case studies are the best form of competence content because of their in-depth analysis of your client's journey. So these make for the best case studies. So it's either showing results or setting expectations. Showing results, so you can do evident proof of competence and capability, or encouraging potential clients to visualize their success with your product or service. And then setting expectations, you can do that by offering a blueprint for potential outcomes or giving a detailed view of the journey, warts and all, which can set realistic expectations. So this is how you craft a case study. 3 steps: narrative structure, the visual elements, and then the brevity and clarity. Let's start with the first one. So you start your case study with the challenges or problem that the client or yours faced. Then you describe how you helped them using the strategies and the methodologies. And then you go over the results they got and the feedback they give you. That's how you structure your case study. Visual elements, you don't have to do this, but you can. Try and incorporate infographics, charts, and images to boost your engagements. You can use tools like Canva to design any images, or you can just ask your client to send you a video of them talking, like a testimonial review. And then brevity and clarity, make sure you condense the information you share without losing any crucial elements and impact. I would recommend using threads to tell longer stories, but while maintaining engagement, or if it's a shorter case study, you can use a long form or even a thread at some points. Now, the best practices: time and scheduling, engage with engagement, and then cross promotion. So this is for competence content as a whole. Identify peak engagement times for your audience. Spread the word consistently without overwhelming followers. Engage with engagement, respond to all your comments, questions, and feedbacks, and encourage shares, retweets, and discussions to expand reach. And then cross promotion. So leverage other platforms too. You don't have to just stay on X. So leverage other platforms to amplify the reach of your case study, and you can create teaser content to redirect audiences to a more in-depth version of your website, or if you have a blog.